to waddle on about this, that, and the other. He gives some sense of having authority. Where did he get the, they ask a very natural question, where did he get this from? Where did he get this stuff from? What is this wisdom given? Wisdom would be a sort of good Bible mind, good sense of God, and wisdom in Bible things. And miracles, the works of power. The Greek word is dynamis. Can you hear dynamite there? Dynamic. Dynamis is a work of power. I would think so. You lay hands on somebody with a hemorrhage, it's gone. Isn't that marvelous? Dramatic miracles, which we are not performing the same way for whatever reason. But where are these works of power and miracles? Then they said, isn't this the carpenter? Isn't he the tecton? That would be a carpenter, a woodworker. He was probably making plows out of wood and other things, building. He was probably a carpenter. It's not entirely clear, but he was a woodworker. He's just an average woodworker. He's just Jesus from up the street here, happens to be the son of Joseph. So he's Yeshua ben Yosef. He's Yeshua, Jesus, son of Joseph. That's distinct from lots of other Jesuses that would have been around. And he's the son of Mary. Very striking. Son of Mary. You don't normally describe a person as being son of their mother. You normally describe them as being son of their father. But this could be a reference to the virginal birth. Joseph apparently died. So son of Mary could be quite significant. Because it's not normal to describe somebody as the son of their mother. Now Joseph was dead. That might be almost certainly dead. You don't hear about it at all. So it's appropriate to say son of Mary. It could also be a reference to the virgin birth. Not sure, but maybe. And then what about the brothers? How many of those do you recognize? That list of brothers there. Which ones do you know about? James, who wrote the book of James. And the other one? Judas. Right. So we have two of the brothers who wrote books in the Bible. That's interesting. Two others we don't know anything about. Joseph and Simon. Don't think much about them. Anything at all much, except they're there. And he had sisters, a big family. I'd love to know the names of Jesus' sisters. To meet them one day, would you? Hey, I was a sister of Jesus. What? What? You were a sister of Jesus? That's amazing. You're going to meet, these are real people. They're real, flesh and blood, human beings, trying to sort out this very talented brother of theirs. What does it say at the end of 3? They took offense at him. That's a bit sad, isn't it? His own brothers and sisters took offense at him. They stumbled at him. And then Jesus said, one of his great wise sayings here, a prophet is really not honored. Is honored, except in his own house. You could have Jesus right there, and people did honor him, some of them, but not, he's just blogs at home. He's just, we'll see. He gets up in the morning, just like we do in the present. So that's interesting. And that would be true, obviously. And he could do no miracles. So faith then was the element here at this point of the story. There wasn't enough faith in his miraculous powers for many miracles to happen. But he laid his hand on a few people and healed them anyway. I like that. Just went around and cured you, took the demon out of you. But in general, there wasn't a massive healing going on. Now, how to apply that today is a different thing. We don't want to condemn people for lack of faith, and yet we want to encourage them to have faith. That's a subtle balance. We can't condemn people necessarily if they're not healed and say, well, you haven't got enough faith. Maybe they do have lots of faith, but God isn't, as I see it, I may be wrong here, as I understand, he's not doing the wheelchair stuff, quite like he did in those days. And that's fine, I'll accept it. Does that mean we shouldn't pray when we're sick? I do. For myself, I pray when I'm sick all the time, always. I don't think people know that. But I hope you do too. Yes.
It's interesting. It still says he laid his hands on a few sick people and healed them.
Yes.
So he still healed people.
Yes.
If I was one of those people, I would think it was a meaningless.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't say he couldn't heal at all.
Yes. No.
No, it wasn't him.
But the next verse says he was
Just-
amazed at their lack of faith.
It was that.
Right,
Yeah.
it was that. Exactly. That is marvelous. I love that to be. I love the idea when Peter's mother-in-law has got this huge fever. I can see her in this little hut, in the dark room, and she's really a temperature of 105. No problem. Where's Jesus? Oh, hey, come over here. Those hands. She's up there making supper. I love that. I mean, because it's so difficult today. People get sick and they're taking all of these medicines and spending half their living on going to the emergency room, etc., etc., etc. Just call Jesus over. Isn't that marvelous? I'd love that to be true. It isn't quite like that today.
Can I throw something in
Please,
here? And
please
it
do.
wasn't just MacArthur that said this, it was something I was taught a long time ago by somebody who showed my name was. The whole point of saying, is this not Mary's son?
Yes.
Not just because Joseph may have been dead,
Right.
and not pertaining to a virgin birth,
Right.
but pertaining to his illegitimacy. That
Yes.
they did not believe that he was in fact a legitimate birth. And so that it was much more of an insult.
Yes.
I mean, it was an insult. It was like, this guy's he's a bastard.
Son of Mary, but not
Son of Mary, but he was his dad.
Yes, you're right. That's the
So it wasn't, yeah.
Yeah, there are three suggestions that have been made. One is it's a reference to virgin birth. The other is that Joseph was dead. The third one is it's a slur because he's the son of Mary. Ha ha ha. No, but we don't know what the father is. So three options there. Oh, yeah, that's good point. All right, so then he was going around the village teaching. He's a teacher. The public doesn't think of him as a teacher. They mainly think of him as dying on the cross and rising, which is essential. They don't think of him as a rabbi. You don't hear this. That's why Matthew, Mark, and Luke are not preached much. You'll hear on radio and television, Paul, and lots of John, if you listen carefully. Rather little from Matthew, Mark, and Luke. And these are just easy things to observe if you listen to preaching in general. Okay, anything else we want to say about that? We're not being heard out of it today.
Yeah, we are now.
We are now?
Mm-hmm.
May I just repeat that thing about sonship that impressed me? To be a son in the Bible, to be son of God means you're firstly the created son of that father. And then you apply that at the human level. All fathers, not all married fathers, create sons, do they not? That's an awesome thought. And mothers are part of that creation too. So you were the created person of your father. That means you honor your father. He's been there for a life, half a lifetime at least, or a portion of a lifetime. He's got all that experience. It doesn't make any sense to dishonor your father. Secondly, then, you are the apprentice in your father's workshop. You're learning your father's trade. And the third one is that you are the shaliach, the agent of your father. You go out in his name, representing your father. That's the most important. That explains exactly what Jesus is constantly saying, right? The works that I'm doing are God's works. God's working through me. Does that mean I do nothing? I just sit there passive? Of course not. I'm heavily involved in what's going on, but I'm speaking the words of God, doing the things of God. It's easy to see how people can say, well, he must be God, you see.
Well, it's interesting
It's not right.
that before he left, he was known as the carpenter.
Yes.
Because his father was the carpenter.
Yes, exactly.
So now when he leaves that job and he becomes,
Yes.
he does God things.
Yes.
So that he does, like he said in John, I work as my father works.
Very
what he does.
Yeah.
So he was known as the carpenter, and now he's known as God's son because he does God things.
And even from the age of 12, even at the age of 12, he's doing God things too. So he's doing carpentry work, no doubt, at the age of 12. But when they lose him there, and have to go back to find him in the caravan of people, or not the caravan, sorry, because they'd gone off on the caravan, but they go back to Jerusalem, they find him there in the temple at 12 years old, and he says this mysterious saying about, I must be busy with my father's work as shaliach, as agent. This is your life, you see, it's not just a history here. You're part of this community at a distance.
So the point is he becomes known.
Yes.
By whatever work he's doing.
Yes, of course.
So he was the carpenter, and now he's God-like, I guess.
Right.
God's son.
Yeah. The nearest thing to God you can get is a 6 foot, the sandaled Palestinian Jew. Without being God, an eternal being who ruins the whole story.
Blue eyes and light skin.
Yes.
Well, no one thought he was Joseph, did they?
No. But those in the know knew that he wasn't. Those inside the circle knew that he was miraculously the God. Okay, 7. Let's read on. Who's going to do 7 for us?
Mila.
Sarah, please.
And he summoned the 12 and began to send them out in pairs and gave them authority over the unclean spirits.
He instructed them to take nothing for the journey except a staff, no bread, no bag, no money in their belts.
But to wear sandals and not to put on tutus.
Mhm.
When you enter each village, be a guest in only one home, he said.
Yes, any place that does not receive you or listen to you as you go out from there, shake the dust off the soles of your feet for a testimony against them.
They went out and preached that men should repent.
And they were casting out many demons, and were anointing with oil many sick people, and healing them.
That's amazing. So they're doing what the teacher does. They learn the trade, haven't they?
Did we skip the whole Sodom and Gomorrah section
Where?
in mine?
Mark's-
The first,
Which
mine
one?
says, surely I say to you, it will be more tolerable for Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city.
What
After
verse?
the shaking out of the sandals of the dust from his feet. Really? What?
Which verse are you in? When you did the Sodom and Gomorrah?
6.
In 11.
And whoever will not receive you nor hear you, when you depart from there, shake off the dust under your feet as a testimony against them.
Mhm.
Assuredly, I say to you, it will be more tolerable for Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city.
Okay, so that's in another manuscript, and for some reason, which
It's
version?
mine.
Yeah.
Well, it's a King James, I mean, it's ultimately.
Are you
Isn't it
King
King
James?
James?
If it's King James, it's coming from a different set of manuscripts.
Wait,
No, no,
Oh, no. Oh, no, it's perfectly easy. The King James translation was made before we have the oldest manuscript, and so you'll find that in the other Gospels anyway. So we'll get to it, but it's great. It all works there.
Well,
It's there in Mark. It's
But
up
they,
there.
but they don't mention, they should mention it.
They should mention it in Metzger, but they don't. Well, it's not considered to be authentic by modern scholars because of the manuscripts that have been found since King
But
James.
they would nonetheless mention the fact that there are extra readings or
Yeah.
whatever, but they don't.
They're
Am I
considered.
supposed to cross this out in my Bible?
I wouldn't bother because it's there in the other Gospels.
It's in the other
Matthew
Gospels.
10:15.
Okay, Sarah, yes, Sarah, read out 10:15 for us from Matthew, so I leave it there.
Truly I
sorry.
say to you, it will be more tolerable for the land of Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city.
That's great. I'm so glad you mentioned that. No, it's great because it gives us, you
Usually,
know, we can make the point that the King James and the New King James are from the Byzantine manuscripts, which are not the oldest one. The theory is that since we've got older ones and more accurate, it happens not to be there. Some scribe has moved it in from the other place. It doesn't matter. It's all good Bible stuff. Wherever you get it in Matthew, so that's excellent.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify.
Yes,
Sorry,
absolutely.
we can go back to verse 12 because I
No
completely
problem.
interrupted everything.
That's fine. Well, this is pretty tough. You know, you have to, why would you push the dust? Why would you shake the dust off the feet? What would that mean?
I know what.
Uncleanliness.
Certainly. I'm not having anything to do with you. I don't want even the dust of your country back in my house.
It shows rejection.
It shows
They're
rejection.
rejecting.
Yes, it's a very strong form of rejection.
It says here that later rabbinic sources note that Jews who returned from Gentile regions
Yes,
were to shake off the dust
exactly.
that is on their feet as a form of cleansing.
Of course, you get into a foreign Gentile country, you go back into Israel, and you get rid of the dust off your shoes, lest you contaminate Israel with Gentile dirt.
It says it's also an illustration of the fact that their rejection of God's message leaves the town accountable to God.
Exactly. This was a testimony. When you preach, even us, when we make a biblical statement that's true, we are indicting those who hear it. Do you realize that you actually are prosecutors? You know, this trial that we just recently had has really focused my attention on what is it to be tried, what is the evidence for that. We are actually, the Bible is a prosecuting thing. In a sense, then, you are prosecuting. When you come along and say that God is God and not three, but one, you're indicting the system. You're challenging it. And that's what these dear people are doing. So if they don't accept you, it's pretty bad. Now, I don't think today you can go around making this sort of apostolic claims. It doesn't get you anywhere. But the fact is that if you speak the truth to people that reject it, they're still rejecting it. I'm thinking actually of the long discussion we've had of demons and Satan on the internet this last several weeks. And ultimately, the person who doesn't believe in the demons is altering the scripture. Be careful. When it says that the demons cried out, in Luke 4:41, it says the demons cried out, and the demons recognized that Jesus was the Messiah. If you don't believe in the demons, you have to change that word demon to demoniac, a demonized human being. Got it? Change the meaning of the text there. Because in your system, if you're a Christadelphian, you don't believe there is a demon. So you have then to say that demon doesn't mean demon. It means a demonized human being. And I got to the point in a long conversation where, watch out. I don't recommend you change the meaning of words. What happens when you change the meaning of marriage? Ever notice anybody do that? Be careful. Don't alter the words of Scripture because you don't like them. So it's fascinating when you work with people and their different belief systems, how they will object to that. So they went out in verse 12 and preached. That's kirisi, heralding, right? All gospel preaching that you do, all gospel preaching that Jesus did, is a heralding. It's not a quiet little fireside chat. It's watch out, the kingdom is coming. You are going to face that kingdom. Where are you going to be? You might as well get on the right side of the law now, rather than wait to be judged when the kingdom comes. It's a promise in the thread, isn't it? Isn't that powerful? And when Jesus is doing it, of course, then he's the ultimate authority. Witnessing, you are witnessing against the people. And that phrase is used, witnessing against. And they were now heralding that men should repent. And since you're good Bible students, you immediately say, okay, I remember 1:14, Mark 1:14, repent and believe in the kingdom. All repentance is repent and believe in the kingdom, always. People don't know that. Repent, they think sort of vague, well, I better be a better chap. Well, that's important too, I better be a better chap. But I better repent and believe in the kingdom, because Mark set that up as the phrase in chapter 1, being a good writer, he expects you to grab it there and keep it here. So men should repent. They were casting out many demons. I've got a colleague that I would like to work with further. I don't understand it, but he claims to have 2 demons. He's very friendly to them. And he's been completely derailed from an ordinary life. He stays home. Doesn't go anywhere, can't work. And he reports that he's got 2 demons who are on him. And I'm feeling powerless. What can we do to help this dear man? I'd like to work with this more. We did meet a demonized person in Peru who went into a mad fit in the middle of a Bible study. Suddenly, in the middle of a Bible study, he went into a rage and a fury. And it took several of us to hold him down. And eventually he came sane in his right mind. He arrived in America and has done quite well. That was one of the few. But this person now, watch out. This person had drunk somebody's blood consciously and had made a pact with the devil. So I recommend you don't do that. If you want to bring the demon world into your life, you get into a mad lifestyle. That attracts the demons. They love it. You know, they can deal with people who are all messed up. So we try to keep ourselves straight and honest and holy and pure. Then the demons have no chance of getting at us. Okay, what about 14? Anybody want to say anything more about it?
Yes, and I was telling you something, maybe you covered this, but I just want to know what is the significance of the instructions it gives them? Don't take a bag, don't take anything to eat, don't put on what is a tunic, an outfit?
Yes.
What's the deal there?
Well, the deal here would be complete dependence on God. I think John MacArthur probably mentioned it. You want to be absolutely dependent on God. You don't even take extra things like a beggar's belt, a beggar's bag on your belt. A staff, they weren't allowed to take a staff with it.
Nope.
You need a staff to fend off wild animals. That's the strongest. You didn't say take a gun. You said don't take a staff.
He could take a
Oh, you
staff.
could take a staff.
Except-
Yeah.
You could
They could
take
take
a staff. A staff, then you could be attacked by an animal. You give something to fend off that. But you are totally dependent on God. You find a suitable house to do your evangelism. You stay there. You don't go door to door. You stay in one place, and then you do your preaching publicly, obviously. And you're relying on God so much that you don't even have a change of clothing. Something like that is probably the idea.
So it's not as a weapon.
And probably not, no. think you're very far.
And this is for the 12, this is not for how we're supposed to live our lives,
No.
not providing for
No,
ourselves.
obviously. Because the conditions for evangelism were different at a different time in Jesus' ministry.
Yes,
Another occasion, he said,
take stuff with you.
take stuff with you. So it varied. I don't know exactly why, but that's what the
One
problem
more,
is.
just maybe a comment, not really a question, but, so they went out and they were healing, and they were, casting out demons and
Yes.
doing miracles.
Yes.
And so Judas would have been among them
Yes.
doing these evangelical things.
That's an interesting thought.
He had the same power
Okay.
that they did.
But he fell away. So even if you're walking close to Jesus, you can mess up and fall away. That's tough. Okay, 14. Who's going to read 14 for us? Change of scene. Is it you?
I'll start.
All right, you start.
And King Herod heard of it, for his name had become well known, and people were saying, John the Baptist has risen from the dead, and that is why these miraculous powers are at work in him.
But others were saying, he is Elijah. And others were saying, he is a prophet, like one of the prophets of old.
But when Herod heard of it, he kept saying, John, whom I beheaded, has risen.
For Herod himself had sinned, and had John arrested and bound in prison on account of Herodias, the wife of his brother Philip, because he had married her.
For John had been saying to Herod, it is not lawful for you to have your brother's wife.
Herodias had a grudge against him and wanted to put him to death and could not do so.
Because Herod feared John, that's why he protected him, since he knew that he was a righteous and holy man. So when Herod heard him, he was thoroughly baffled, and yet he liked to listen to him.
Then an opportune day came when Herod, on his birthday, gave a feast for his nobles, the high officers, and the chief men of Galilee.
Then his daughter, also named Herodias, came in and performed a dance that greatly pleased them all. Ask me for anything you like, the king said to the girl, and I'll give it to you.
Okay, just pausing there. You said then when the daughter also named Herodias?
Yes.
No, the daughter of
When
Herodias.
Herodias' daughter,
Yes.
Herodias' daughter.
That's-
Your son's not real?
Yes, no, the daughter's name was Salome, and she's the daughter. Yeah, so when the daughter of Herodias, whose name was Salome or Salome, when she came in and danced to please Herod and his dinner guests, and the king said to the girl, ask me for whatever you want, and I'll give it to you. And he swore 23 to her, whatever you ask of me, I'll give it to you, even up to half of my kingdom. Anybody have any trouble understanding what kingdom is? Oh. Kingdom of God is coming, got it? Kingdom. It's a real political, social entity. Come. Isn't this a drunken, awful story? It reminds me of Henry Davis. I saw a film on him the other day with 6 wives. Guy was just a thug. Absolute thug. And he's the one who got them into the Church of England. He rejected the Pope because the Pope wasn't keen on the various divorces. The man was a thug. A street fighter. Isn't that awful? What sort of fellow is this? John the Baptist said, wait a minute, you can't marry your sister-in-law, sorry. Oh, well, chop his head off. Now, according to my commentary, the one he wanted to marry was also his niece. It's a complex family because there were scores of children. It's all very complicated. But incest might not be a good idea either. And so John the Baptist said, wait a minute, you can't do that. Cost him his life. Are you willing to challenge people and lose your life over it? Horrible. So they have this big party on his birthday. Goodness. It's just sickening, isn't it? How bad can you get?
I don't know if it's true, but
Good.
MacArthur says, up to half my kingdom. This was an exaggeration designed to enhance his previous statement of generosity. As a Roman tetrarch, Herod actually had no kingdom to give.
That's interesting.
And then, I don't know. I mean, I'm just reading what it
That's
says.
a bit surprising, yes.
Maybe
Yeah.
because of his position, he didn't actually have a kingdom.
Well,
His
he
political
was.
position.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't know.
MacArthur's unlikely to be wrong, but Tom will confirm this, the Herodian family were Edomites, and they were in charge. He was a tetrarch. I don't quite know what that means. Whose kingdom was it then? It wasn't Herod's, I'm not sure.
Well, it belonged to Rome.
It belongs to Rome, that's true. Yes, maybe the idea is it's a Roman king, he's only a tetrarch in
Right, he
Rome.
oversees it, but it wasn't his to give away.
Okay, that may be the point. That's interesting.
Like, I'll give you half of the Roman Empire.
Right, which we know he wasn't allowed to get, right.
And that's probably, yeah,
Well, he was a puppet king.
puppet king under Rome. So he
the
was.
emperor.
He was also a foreigner. It's very, he was an Edomite family. Edomites were the big enemies of Israel. So they had a foreigner in charge of them in the Herodian family. That's interesting. But
Just,
he was
uh,
subject to Rome.
just in reference to the
Yeah.
Sodom and Gomorrah thing.
Yeah,
Since
since Judy mentioned it, yeah.
Just kills you that I have.
the Mishnah, which is rabbinic writing, says the men of Sodom have no share in the world to come,
Yes.
but they shall stand in the judgment, for it is written, and the men of Sodom were evil and wicked.
Yeah.
Nehemiah says, neither the generation of the flood, nor the men of Sodom shall stand in judgment.
In the judgment, right. And who said that? Nehemiah.
This is
Rabbi,
Mishnah.
A rabbi, Nehemiah. Yeah,
A
a
rabbi.
rabbi said, neither the people who were in the flood, the evil ones, nor the people of Sodom and Gomorrah will stand in the judgment, but they won't stand.
So I was thinking about this, so what did they do to condemn themselves, the Sodom and Gomorrah people?
They gave
What
us-
are we told they did?
Oh, well, they were into sexual practice that sounds like Genesis 6. You had angels visiting them,
Right.
and they put the women out. That's
And
appears to be sex with
homosexuality.
angels.
I mean,
So,
definitely
so it sounds like
homosexuality.
homosexuality, right?
It does.
To every extent.
Actually, that's possible, but if most people think of it as homosexuality, in fact, it looks like sex between women and angels there. It may also have been the other. People don't realize it. Because these visitors were angels.
Right.
That's not homosexuality necessarily. It's
But
not.
my understanding is that
Right.
they didn't know they were angels.
Did they
Fair
know?
enough.
They, when you read it, it doesn't make it sound like they knew that they were
Right,
putting them out to have sex with angels. They were putting them out because they thought they were men.
Got it.
yeah.
Okay, so it's all this.
Yeah, they said
it's
bring some
extreme-
men out.
Right.
Right,
They don't
they
know
didn't
they're
say, they don't know they're angels.
No.
And here's the other thing, the
So it's
whole
both
great
things are
flood,
true. Both things.
every evil, wicked
Yeah.
thought imaginable
Yeah.
was in their head, so it makes perfectly sense why they're, I mean, it was not a single.
Right.
Actually, did even Lot know they were angels?
Yes,
Does
Lot
it
knew
even
they were
say?
angels.
Lot knew they were angels. Yeah,
Yes.
I don't know,
yeah,
have to check
Lot
the
knew.
text.
So to
But,
clarify then, what
temporary
actually,
Says that some say also because they were wicked towards strangers coming to their town.
well, that's an attempt, I think, to soften the whole thing. The sin at Sodom and Gomorrah was that they weren't very hospitable.
Right.
That's an attempt to get rid of the sexual connotation.
Right, that's just watering it down.
What he's done.
And the reason Lot knows is because he gives up his daughters to save the guys. He
Yeah.
throws his daughters out
Yeah.
to save the four angels, or the angels.
Yeah. Anyway, the broad lesson would be that illicit sex of all sorts is out, and these people were duly punished for that. Okay, I don't know that we need to, what's the word,
Move on, well.
well, we don't need to gloat over any more of this sordid stuff, it's bad enough. You saw this story that the head of John the Baptist, immediately, she sees her chance, and the head of John the Baptist is brought on a silver platter, no doubt, and the dancing is going on, and the merrymaking, and no doubt they were stoned out of their minds. And that happens in verse 29, when the disciples heard about this, they came and took away the body and laid it in the tomb. It's a very sad day, isn't it? And appropriately then, let me just do 30 for you. The apostles gathered together with Jesus, and they told him, I should think they were absolutely terribly distressed. All that they'd done and taught, that's returning from their mission. And he said to them, appropriately, you need to get away, I think. Come away by yourself to a secluded place and take a rest. Shocking events, aren't they? So they did that. There were many people coming and going. They didn't even have time to eat. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Very real. It could get like that. Do you realize that if some of these truths were to get more widely known, you could have a huge demand on our resources too. That reminds me, by the way, thanks to all of those who are donating to Restoration Culture. It doesn't go unnoticed. It's most appreciated. Helps us to pay secretarial work, helps us to send the magazine out. We don't ourselves take salaries, don't need to, which is fine. We only have one paid employee, but it's very generous. It's very kind, and those donations have in fact been increasing over the years, which is rather amazing. So they take a rest. They went away in boats, forever traveling, boat to a secluded place by themselves. Okay, how are we doing? Should we take one more section?
Oh, yeah, that's plenty.
Right. Everybody got over the tragedy of that terrible time. Now we're on to feeding the 5,000. So not only can Jesus heal, he can exorcise, he can feed people miraculously. I'd love to see this. 5,000. Who's going to read next?
I think I was,
All right, Michelle, please.
33.
33.
well, I was supposed to read about the beheading at 20.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, but we kind of went
I
over
don't know.
it.
I think
You
we've
want to
done
start
that.
at 33, 34?
Yes, go to start 33.
33.
Yeah.
The people saw them going, and many recognized them and ran there together on foot from all the cities and got there ahead of them.
When Jesus went ashore, he saw a large crowd. He felt compassion for them because they were like sheep without a shepherd. And he began to teach them many things.
Mhm.
When it was already quite late, his disciples came to him and said, "This place is desolate, and it is already quite late.
Mhm.
Send them away so that they may go into the surrounding countryside and villages and buy themselves something to eat."
But he answered them, "You give them something to eat?" And they said to him, "Shall we go and spend 200 denarii
Mhm.
on bread and give them something to eat?"
And he said to them, "How many loaves do you have? Go look." And when they found out, they said, 5 and 2 fish.
Mhm.
Then he directed them all to sit down in groups on the green grass.
Mhm.
So they sat down in ranks, in hundreds and in 50s.
Jesus took the 5 loaves and 2 fish, looked up toward heaven, and asked God's blessing on the food. Breaking the loaves into pieces, he kept giving the bread and fish to the disciples to give to the people.
And they all ate and were satisfied.
And they picked up 12 full baskets of the broken pieces and also of the fish.
Mhm.
There were 5,000 men who ate the loaves.
Okay, don't ask me about the meaning of all those numbers because I don't know. And later on it says they were hardened in their heart and they didn't understand what all the numbers meant. So I confess, you would surmise 12 is the number of foundation and so on, 5 is the number of grace. But I don't fully understand the significance of all the numbers, maybe you do. But the story is more than clear. But in 37, he answered them, "You give them something to eat," right? 36 says, "Send them away," the disciples said. "Tell them to go get their provisions into the surrounding countryside and buy stuff for themselves." But Jesus said, "No, you give them something to eat." What? They said to him, "What? This is ridiculous. Shall we go and spend 200 denarii?" How much is that? A denarius was the equivalent to 1 day's wage, so a few dollars. Shall we go and spend 200 denarii on bread?
8
That would
months
be-
of wages.
Yep, that's what we
Yeah.
have.
A fortune, in other words, right? A
5,000
fortune.
5,000 is a lot of people.
Dude.
And that just says men. I
Right.
don't know how many children there are.
That's right.
Women,
Yeah.
That's right.
sure.
That's right. 5,000, so maybe it was 8, 7, who knows. Anyway, it's an awful lot of money. So they're saying, "Don't be silly, Jesus. That's going to cost us more than we can imagine." And he said to them in 38, "How many loaves have you got?" I love this direct letter. Come on. Get this organized. Okay, how many have you got? So then they're quiet, they don't object anymore. And they found out, "Hey, go look. You got to go look. Find out." When they found out, they said, "We've got 5 loaves, is it? Yes, and 2 fish." For 8,000 people, let's say. Let's guess. And he commanded, and that's the commanding. I like the authority and style here. Jesus is in charge of this whole thing. You would be if you were God's son in a miraculous sense. You can heal people and cast out demons. You're jolly well in charge. I like that. We need somebody in charge around here, don't we? Look at the world. Come on, let's get somebody who can say, listen, folks, sex belongs in marriage. That's enough. One adultery in Atlanta tonight is too much for God. One murder tonight in the world is too much for God. Shut up, sit down. Let's get this right. Honor your parents. Right? Make the one who bore you rejoice. Wow, what a piece of advice. Isn't that hard? I'd love to be able to enforce that kindly. And Jesus can and will, but for the moment, we don't have that kind of authority, do we? We could sort out a lot. I'm looking at a very skilled person, a TJ officer, but she knows how a big store, Home Depot works. And they don't put up with any nonsense. You don't do the job, you're fired, right? You couldn't survive. And yet, morally, we're in such chaos now. Anything goes. And it isn't a good way to go, causing a lot of grief. Anyway, I like this sort of peremptory style. He commanded them to sit down by groups. Well, why would that be in groups? I'm not sure.
Separate the men and the women.
Separate
Well,
men
they
and
would
women.
already be separated by, well, they didn't meet together, they wouldn't have been families.
Families.
It was easy to distribute that way, because you just hand them.
Right.
Probably.
Just read the comment.
Families together, presumably, yeah. Sat down in groups of hundreds and 50. So there were, yeah,
It
hundreds.
made food distribution more
Thank you.
Yeah, the
easy.
righteous and the
Just a
unrighteous.
good practical reason.
That
Don't need to
too.
get too deep.
It wasn't brain surgery, it's like,
How do you get through 5,000?
really, we got a lot of people to feed, let's hustle.
Yeah.
Let's do this the easy
So
way.
there's not mob rule here.
Right.
You know, sit down.
And 42 says, and they all ate and were satisfied. Full up. As they said in the Navy, my father's naval jargon, back teeth awash.
You've lost all of us in this.
No, I totally get it. It's enough.
Back,
No, we never let food
back
just
teeth
come out.
awash. Food is all right up back to your back teeth. Awash. The water level is coming up to your back teeth. You didn't get that? That's it. Back teeth awash. You had enough to eat. They were satisfied.
Make one little comment here. Because I always like this when people talk about how we're supposed to be vegetarians for some, religious reason. And I always say, if we were, why would God be making a miracle and Jesus,
That's a good point.
using a meat, rather than he could have caused a basket of oranges or something to be distributed. I mean, it could have been anything.
Salad.
More manna.
Salad, or manna. Well, we don't know manna, but, yeah.
Michelle has just given us a second good argument against vegetarianism enforced. That is, the first argument is Jesus ate fish here as well. But later on, but you've got to
Well,
know.
the second, the first one to me is Passover, that they were commanded. But anyway.
So the question to ask your Seventh-day Adventist friends, and there are 23 million of them, not more or less intelligent than you, is to simply say, why do you want to be more righteous than Jesus? Come on, face that one. Lady just about fell over when I asked her that the other day.
Here's another one in verse 41. Why is he looking up to heaven and giving thanks? If he's God,
He's God.
what?
Why would you God giving thanks to God?
Right, it doesn't make sense.
No, tell your friends that nobody imagined in the Bible times that God could get born. That's just silly. That's just silly. I mean, S-I-L-L-Y, silly. Nobody imagined that God could die. That would be equally silly. So don't even go with those arguments.
Well, I forgot, it was his human part that gave thanks.
Yes.
It's not in the text, I'm just reading.
It was the impersonal human nature of Jesus that gave thanks, but the God part didn't. I don't think we need that sort of complication. All right, this is an exciting story. They were all satisfied. And then there was leftover, isn't that marvelous? 12 full baskets of broken pieces, and also the fish. What? Leftovers from 2 fish. It's sheer miracle. For 5,000 men, great. Anyway, what can you say?
There's an interesting parallel here. The commentary says with verse 34 and the feeding, where Jesus teaches them.
Yes.
He feeds them the word,
That's a good
the
point.
gospel, and then
That's a good point.
he feeds their
Right.
belly.
That's right.
So,
Right, a very famous John's Gospel theme that you're to chew on Jesus. You're to eat him, eat his body and blood and so on, and to chew on his teaching.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, we better do the walking on water then. 4 to 5. Mhm.
Immediately, Jesus made his disciples get into the boat and go on ahead to the other side to Bethsaida while he dispersed the crowd.
Mhm.
What verse are we?
46.
46.
Afterward, he went up into the hills by himself to pray.
Uh,
47.
yeah, that's probably right. Yeah, 47. 46 in the NSV says, after bidding them farewell, he left for the mountain to pray. And when it was evening, 47, the boat was in the middle of the sea, and he was alone on the land.
Seeing them straining at the oars, for the wind was against them, at about the 4th watch of the night, he came to them, walking on the sea, and he intended to pass by them.
But when they saw him walking on the sea, they supposed that it was a ghost and cried out.
For they all saw him and were terrified. But immediately he spoke with them and said to them, take courage, it is I, do not be afraid.
Then he got into the boat with them, and the wind stopped, and they were utterly astonished.
For they had not gained any insight from the incident of the loaves, but their heart was hardened.
Isn't that amazing? They hadn't gotten the point. They shouldn't be astonished at somebody walking on water who just fed them from 2 fish. I mean, that's not a big deal. Anyway, it's interesting stuff. At even 47, the boat was in the middle of the sea, and he was alone. Let's argue about the word alone, shall we? Alone. Anybody argue with that? Jesus was alone on the land, all right? You alone, Father, are the true God. John 17:3, with your friends across the coffee table. You, Father, are the only one who is alone God. Let's argue about it. You, President Obama, are the only President of the USA at current time. Let's argue about that. Jesus was alone, because you'll get a frenzy of argument when you talk about God out there. How can one person alone be 3? That's the muddle and mess we've got into. So Jesus was alone. Monos is the Greek. Monos, as in monoplane, monopoly, and all those good words. So alone is correct. Not a problem. He was alone on the land, seeing them straining at the oars. There are life stories here, are there not? You were not straining at the oars, you felt you were struggling to get through. Straining at the oars, you saw the man who rowed his way across the Atlantic. They pictured him, and it was hard going. It was a rough and rusty. Pulling those oars. They were straining.
How does that kill the pain?
Yes, that's right. Thank you, Tom. Exactly. That was. Why did I know that? I saw the advert. Yeah. The key there was he had his Advil, so it enabled him to row across the Atlantic and quell the pain. So you can make a story out of this yourself. But 4th watch of the night, what time was that?
Between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m.
And that's 3 to 6 a.m., right in the middle of the night, 4th watch. He came to them and was intending just to go straight. Isn't that interesting? He wasn't going to even talk to them, just go straight on by. But when they saw him walking on the sea, they supposed that it was a ghost, a phantasma, a ghost, a ghostly spook. And they cried out, "Whoa, what's this? This is awful." They all saw him and were terrified, as well you would be. But immediately he spoke to them and said, "Take courage. Be comforted. No problem. It's I." It means I'm God, right? I don't think so. It is I. I'm the one. It's me, Jesus. No, I'm God. It doesn't mean I'm God when you say it's I. It means I'm Jesus here. It's me. Don't be scared. How many times does the Bible say don't be scared? Lots of times.
Fear not.
Huh?
Fear not.
Fear not. Right. Gabriel to Mary. Fear not, Mary. Don't be scared. He got into the boat with them, and the wind stopped. So he's in control of the weather, the demons, all sorts of diseases. Food shortage, no problem. He must be God. You can't walk on water unless you're God. Oh, wait a minute. Peter walked on water too, so he's God. Doesn't work.
But it's understandable why, he became God.
Yes.
This is some
Yes.
feat here.
And that's right.
in It's interesting, this apparition or ghostly-like thing.
Yeah.
You know, it reminds me when post-resurrection, when they think he's a spook, he's a ghost.
Yeah.
And he says, no, I'm real. So
Yeah.
the eyewitness,
Mhm.
you know, the resurrection is very important.
Mhm.
The fact that he was a human being is very important to the
Absolutely.
gospel,
Oh, yeah.
not to later Christianity, because they make him. But if you just stick to the gospel and the eyewitness, they debunk at various times the idea that he was anything but a human being, or post-resurrection, as a spook or something.
Not a
He's
spook.
still a human being. So
They're
I
working
find that
against- they're
interesting.
working
The
against it.
eyewitness
Yes.
is working against.
Sure.
uh,
Absolutely. Very clear. So what else
He
did?
can defy the laws of physics.
Yeah,
Right.
he's still, there's a human being walking on water, and they're saying to them, their brain is probably saying, sure, secreting and saying, no, it must be an apparition.
Yes.
But then he comes up, it says in my translation,
Yeah.
and then he gets in the boat.
Mhm.
So,
Right, gets into the boat, that's very physical.
I'm here.
Did the spook get into the boat? That would be difficult to see. And then the wind is quiet.
I mean, if you just picture this, so it says earlier that he told them to go ahead, y'all go ahead and leave, get in the boat and leave. I'm gonna say goodbye, I'm gonna send off the people.
Yes.
So, to me, that's just sort of amazing that he's saying bye to all the people himself.
That isn't
And they already left, so they're heading across, and he's like, I'll just head on over there.
a good point.
I just walk across and head on over there, because it says he was just gonna walk all the way across.
I know. That's a good
And just the
detail.
whole picture of it is.
It's a nice touch, because he takes trouble with the 5,000 people. Say goodbye.
And constant prayer, followed by constant
Yeah.
prayer. He's always thanking God, he's always
Yeah.
praying to God.
Yeah.
That's.
That is, it's a lot you can get out of this, it's wonderful.
Randy wants to know what would the disciples understand by saying a ghost?
A ghost, that's a good question. In the Greek pagan world, a ghost would be the departed spirit of a human being. In the Greek pagan world, but within the biblical frame, that's impossible. So if they understood the sleep of the dead, they wouldn't think it was a human spirit departed. So the only alternative for them would be an angel, a spirit,
Or
either good or bad.
apparition.
Apparition, it would have to be a category angel.
Because these Jewish people didn't believe in ghosts, as in the pagan
Well,
world,
the
right?
Greek world believed in human beings as ghosts. The Hebrew world didn't believe in human beings.
Right. But this Jewish writer, Mark, talks about ghosts, but not in the way that the Greeks might not.
That's exactly right.
I
But
think he means just an apparition or
But it's not demon.
it would have to be a demon or it would have to be an angelic figure of some sort.
yeah, it must be a
It
spirit.
says imaginary creature, so it's
Yeah,
something
That's
not in,
Well-
imaginary is like in your mind.
Yeah.
Imaginary is what you create in your mind, not something physical. So, it's just, it could be.
That's
It
so
doesn't
Greek.
matter.
The Greek is fantastic.
I mean, yeah, we get the Greek, from this Greek word, we get the word phantom, phantasm, yeah.
Phantasm, right. In the book of Job, yeah, in the book of Job.
Oh, that's what an imaginary thing is.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue
You
whether
think-
it was
You
real
think you
or
saw your
imaginary.
grandmother
Right.
who died yesterday, but it was
As
an
opposed
imaginary.
to angel or demon.
Could have been that too, I mean.
I don't, we're running short of categories.
Does
God,
it
angel,
matter?
man. Doesn't matter that much.
No.
No, it's a very fine point.
It's a
Why
good
does it
question though, because this is a Hebraic
Same, of course.
text, it's not a Greek Roman text, so I think the question
It's
merits.
interesting that when they saw Jesus, they thought they were seeing a ghost. I don't think that was necessarily just imagined. They knew what a ghost was, and it wouldn't be a human being, so you're only left really with a demon or an angel. There's not much of it.
I think what the really important part is their hearts were hardened.
And the amazing thing is that they believed in ghosts.
Yeah.
Such a concept.
Well, what was,
That's why they thought.
but the question is, what was a Jewish person's definition of a ghost? I think
It
that's
had to
what
be
the
angel or
question.
demon.
Well, they would understand what the pagans believed. Not that they believed it.
Not these people,
but they would-
not these people, they was.
I'm not saying they adopted that as their own belief.
But they're using
They heard of
language, you mean?
things
They're
throughout.
using,
Hmm.
uh,
It's like, I can understand what a leprechaun is, I mean, I believe they exist or anything, but I know in another culture, there is that thing.
Anyway, it's actually quite
Again,
interesting.
their hearts
Yeah,
were hardened.
They weren't thinking straight anyway.
That's why they saw that.
They could argue that too, say they've got it all wrong, it's a heart wrong. They haven't gained any insight.
Instead of saying, oh, look, here comes Jesus.
Yes. That's right.
Here he comes.
That's right.
And he's walking on water now.
That's right. And Peter later
He's
walked on
amazing.
Let Barbara talk.
Barbara?
Yeah.
Can Barbara talk?
Well, the hardening of the hearts to me is the most severe caution, because they had just witnessed the most amazing miracle.
Mhm.
And you will hear people say today, if we could just have this miracle, if we could just see a
That's a good
miracle, it
point.
would change us.
Not-
And they apparently
Not
not
really.
even witnessed it.
That's horrible.
And it was left, it left them hard of heart.
And
Mm.
It's an amazing.
it is.
Yet we want to see stuff, right?
Right.
We want-
Yes,
But
they still have
it's
that
not
same-
guaranteed.
It's a guarantee of nothing.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, it is.
something else.
I
And
had
then
a-
disciples
The
too.
margin in that there says, that literally it says, they had not understood on the basis of
Yeah.
the incident of the
Right.
boats, or their mind was closed, made dull, or insensible.
Very amazing.
I like closed mind.
They were closed-minded, yes.
Mm.
Okay, let's finish. I didn't think we'd get through a whole long chapter. We've got 6 verses to go, 5 verses to go.
53.
53, who's reading that?
Me.
Okay.
Did you finish, Carl?
No,
Did you
you
read?
can go.
Go, it's your turn.
Okay, after they had crossed over, they came to land at somewhere and anchored there.
Gennesaret.
54.
And moored to the shore.
And when they came out of the boat, immediately the people recognized him.
Hmm.
And they ran throughout the whole area and began carrying sick people to him on mats.
Hmm. Wherever he entered villages or cities or countryside, they were laying the sick in the marketplaces and imploring him that they might just touch the fringe of his cloak, and as many as touched it were being cured. It's amazing. You can see the panic, the rushing around.
Well, I could rush.
I think we'd all be rushing. So he's a superstar.
Rock star.
They crossed over. I like the little detail here in 53. They moored to the shore. Interesting detail. It's obvious that when you take the boat, you've got to tie it up.
They moored.
They tied it
Our
to the
sense
stake,
doesn't.
moored to the shore. Got out of the boat immediately. You know that Mark has ephes, immediately. It's a huge rush, the whole thing. Everything is immediately. It's a frenzy of activity, as well you would expect it, because sick people really had an opportunity they weren't going to get very often. They all got healed just by touching the fringe. It's astonishing stuff. It's your story, though. Don't forget that. This is not just ancient history. We are related to the story in somewhat at a distance. I see that. Just my world. I'm not living this kind of a world. I see that. And yet I'm claiming to be part of this community. I can understand what they're saying. I can understand the claim to be Messiah, the claim not to be God. I understand the claim of the kingdom. The rest, I find my way. I don't have a solution to many things about healing. What part is the doctor? What part is mine? Those are tricky issues. I do know that in America people tend to be terribly doctor-oriented. On the other hand, in Armstrong, people died because they didn't go to the doctor. So somewhere there's a balance we all have to find for
And back
ourselves.
in those days, what kind of medical,
Right.
attention did they get?
That's
Probably
exactly
not a
right.
whole lot of sick people that just
Right.
suffering.
You remember Mark's comment? The lady would spend all her money and doctors were getting worse.
Worse.
That's a very cynical comment. Not suggesting it's that way today. You've got brilliant people in medicine now. It's a different situation. But heaven forbid that we should dictate to anybody what they do in that area. It's a personal decision.
And again, I see the healing, the miraculous.
Yeah.
I see that as an offshoot
Sure.
of the core calling,
Absolutely.
which was preached in the villages,
Yes.
in the cities,
Yeah.
in the countryside. This is just a
Yes.
secondary thing, let's call it.
Yeah.
A result of all them
Yeah.
going out and doing
Yeah.
And now that's the thing.
Mhm.
You see where we lost it? Like the core thing
Yes.
of Jesus is gone.
That's right.
I mean,
That's right.
people talk about kingdom and
That's right.
and preaching and gospel,
Yeah.
but the main thing is gone. Now it's this healing, this miracle,
I see.
and like Barbara said, it doesn't. At the end of the day, it doesn't really seem to matter, because no matter how many signs you see or witness, faith comes by something else. It seems. And that core thing of Jesus, I like this comment. The core calling of Jesus is villages, cities, and I mean, he pretty much covers all the geography. And that's what we have to keep at it, keep trying to recover.
It's like the parable of the sower. Jesus is sowing right now. He's tossing the seed out everywhere. All these people, they're like in this frenzy. Oh, there's a guy who can heal you. Let's go. But when it comes time, so they learn about him a little bit and get healed. But then when it comes time for those roots to grow and them to say, oh, you mean I'm supposed to change my life?
Yeah.
You know, that's.
No, that's exactly
And
right.
believe you.
Exactly right.
Believe what you
Yeah. The word biblical commentary makes I want to say two things about the commentary. First thing is commentaries are a disaster. They spend much of their time arguing about where did Mark get this from? Did Jesus really do any of this, or did Mark make it up? That's a waste of time. Yeah, I leave all that. How was the editing done? Was Mark copying Matthew or Matthew? All that's a waste of time. I don't care. I've got the text. So they exhaust themselves trying to analyze how did they get this put together. But nobody knows. Forget that part. But much good commentary though. One of the things I learned this morning reading the word of commentary was that part of Jesus' teaching is that exorcism and healing thing. The teaching isn't separate. I mean, he's teaching, but he's also demonstrating all of that. It's all teaching, really. I like that. That makes good sense. Although for me, I don't understand it. I'm not doing exorcism every day. You aren't probably either. So it's some extent not clear. Not everything's clear. I think that, as you say, God is putting out the word and seeing who will respond.
And the other thing we must tell ourselves and teach others is that so if you get the teaching right, as far as you know, it doesn't mean the outflow will be all this stuff, all the healing and you know, some people, I don't know if you told me back in the day with some people you work with, they thought if they had to, oh, we got it now, so nothing's happening. I'm not healing Tom. I think you mentioned.
We all thought that. When we came to these truths, we thought, now we're going to have all these miraculous things. Didn't quite work that way. So am I depressed about that? Not at all, because I do think that what we do within our limits is significant enough to be meaningful. In other words, when you've got people phoning and saying, hey, this is amazing, I'm understanding the Bible, I want to move my family, that's enough significance. Not that we're doing anything. God is doing it, but that is significant as truth.
There's a saying that I learned at this other group of people, and it's you can work the plan, but you can't plan the outcome.
No.
So your responsibility is simply to do.
Exactly. Do what you can.
You're not responsible for what happens with it. You just teach it.
That's right. Yeah. You sow the seeds. Yeah. That's exactly. Certainly interesting, all of it.
This whole chapter here,
Yeah.
you see that the whole basis of healing was the faith of the people.
Yes.
And in his hometown,
Yes.
where healing was impossible because the people lacked faith.
Absolutely.
So it's,
Absolutely.
you had to ask yourself, well, is the problem today is that we just don't have enough faith?
Yeah, but even the disciples told
Yes.
their hearts were
Right.
hardened.
Yeah.
So how do you harmonize
They
that?
still went out and
In
performed
his
miracles.
town, he couldn't heal because of the faith, but here his own disciples are hard-hearted.
And we
Well,
have
does
that
hardened mean, like, to us, that sounds very
Very tough.
tough. Yeah, rigid, yet does it just mean they just didn't understand?
Well,
They
like
didn't get it yet.
Like the Pharaoh,
That
he
just-
saw the pestilence, he saw the plague, right? But he's not.
it's still unchanged.
So it's unbelievable what God is doing, isn't it?
And,
Simple.
and here's the
These
danger.
people had faith, they took their people there.
Oh, yes.
We've had a conversation regarding not having enough faith,
Yes.
where healings and miracles are concerned, destroys people's lives, because with all the, we've been involved in ministries and churches where it's just a dangerous doctrine to think that it's based on, in this case, he says the people, that it was lack of faith, but
No, it's
It's
a
just really,
favourite theme of mine, what you're
it's one
saying.
of those things that I am very.
Julia, I entirely agree. The Armstrong extreme was that people died. And to make your point, again, Tom Caruso, stood in that meeting there in the big hotel and wept and reported that there was a boy with meningitis who was very, very sick. And they brought this boy in front of Herbert Armstrong and they said, shall we take him to the doctor or shall we just ask other people? And the boy died in their presence. Herbert said, don't take him to the doctor. So I'm very sensitive to that. On the other hand, do we just throw ourselves in the hands of the doctor? I'm critical. I don't think that's why. Especially in America, where, with great respect to the great nation, you are tremendously medical oriented. Now, that may be good things sometimes, but also can be bad things. So it's something.
You know, verse 6 here,
Mhm.
Mark 6:6.
Yeah.
Jesus marveled
Yes,
because of their
that's
unbelief
interesting, isn't it?
and the hatred.
It's
He probably thought, man, what do I have to do?
I know.
What do you people
other
want?
tricks in-
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe Jack.
Yeah.
What else can I say?
While walking on the
Don't try walking on the water, yes.
Well, yes.
Well, I'll try the
Well, I
water.
had a juggling and feeding 5,000 people all at the same time.
I'll try the water thing. I'll try the Lazarus thing. That's it. I'm out. I'm out.
I'm out of tricks, I got nothing left.
No more.
One other thought that
Yes.
I have around just some of the miracles
Yes.
and some of the works that Jesus performed, a lot of just thinking the objective really, in addition to all the other things, is to recognize that he was the Son of God.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's,
Absolutely.
I mean, just as I'm the Messiah, look at what I can do. And I
That's
think
basic.
it kind of gets lost in why
It
he
does.
was doing this or that or the other.
All the spectacle, you can lose sight of the fact that do you believe he's the Messiah? We do. We're at least
and
on
that's the
board.
belief, and that's the faith, you
Right.
know,
And
that's
he
the
was
faith.
doing this to get other people to see the
Oh,
power that
exactly.
God has and his capable and who he
Right.
said he was. And we, you know what, quite honestly today, I mean, it was all about glorifying God,
Mhm.
always.
Right,
I mean, it
exactly.
always was.
I'm
about-
the agent, I'm the son,
Yes.
I've been sent, right, to do these things.
And here's the other difference, is they didn't have all of
No,
this.
no.
We have all of this today, so demanding to see somebody walking on water or getting up
Right.
out of their deathbed.
Yeah.
But they have the Old Testament, right?
They have the Old
And, I mean,
Testament, but yeah,
Red Sea,
The
Right.
son,
and
Joshua
they
spoke.
had better, they had Jesus, I mean,
Right.
they actually physically had it.
right,
I mean, there's a bit of a difference.
so they knew about miracles, that God could, you know,
Absolutely.
make.
Certainly it isn't. Well, James says if you're rejoicing, sing hymns. If you're sick, pray. If you're in trouble, pray. Right? I mean, that's basic. So I've used in my own experience in Matthew 15, this little story appeals to me. Let me show you this. And then we'll have to put it here. Matthew 15, here's this dear lady who is not even a Jew. And Matthew 15. And you know the story. She's a Canaanite in 21. Jesus went away, withdrew to the district of Tyre and Sidon. Those are pagan people, they're not Jews. And a Canaanite woman, can you imagine, a Canaanite woman from that region came out and began to cry out, saying, "Have mercy on me, Lord, Son of David." She knew that he was recognized, she recognized him as Messiah, and Lord. She got that right. Not Lord God, by the way. Today, they keep saying, he's called Lord, there you go, it must be God. No. Lord, Son of David. Brilliant title. Lord Messiah, Son of David. She knew who it was, imploring him. And she said, "My daughter is cruelly demonized." Oh, in this hearing, this congressional hearing, and they're talking about, and I'm not going to take sides, on the possible connection between mercury and autism. Possible. They show a clip of an autistic child. I won't try to reproduce it for you, but it's absolutely so tragic. My child, it's just like what you'd imagine. And I'm saying it is, I'm not making this up. Whatever, what's going on. But to have a child standing, and I won't demonstrate it because it's too revolting, but they could only bear to play 30 seconds of that, to make the point that that's a terrible difficulty for parents. Anyway, she's crying out, and Jesus says, "Wait a minute, I wasn't even sent to you guys. Get out of my life," kind of thing. Not exactly that. He didn't answer a word. Silent, right? Took no notice of this poor woman. And so what happened? You know how the story comes out. his disciples came and implored him, begged him, saying, "Send her away, get this woman out of our lives. She's just bothering us." Well, the poor woman she has a demoniac child, this poor dear lady. And she believed that Jesus was the Messiah and Lord Messiah. And so you know how the story comes out. He said, I wasn't sent to you guys. I am only for the 10 lost tribes and the 2 tribes. I'm for the sheep of the house of Israel, the whole lot, presumably. And she came and began to bow down, that's a good sign, before him, saying, "Lord, help me." And he answered and said, "Wait a minute, it's not good to take the bread and throw it to you Gentiles." He's really against her, isn't he? And she has to go on imploring. This is what your attitude should be too. You have to go on imploring, begging, "Heal me. Yes, Lord, even the dogs feed on the crumbs which fall from their master's table." And Jesus finally breaks down. I can just see her looking in the eyes and saying, "My dear woman, your faith is amazing. Get healed." No, but they had to be implored. It's interesting.
What
And even-
she pictured was the total opposite of hardness of heart.
Yes,
Right,
Yes.
right.
but it makes TJ's point that she knew who he was. You see, isn't that one? The core is, who do you say that I am? The answer is not, "We know you're a great healer, we know you're a prophet." We know you're the Messiah, the Son of the living God. That gets you in on the program. Even so, you keep having to say, "Lord, have mercy on us." So if you get sick, you can pray this prayer that came out.
Yeah,
Lord, have mercy on us.
the Lord Son of David is quite
I
striking.
like that.
Striking.
God is not the Son of
It's
David.
brilliant.
It's beautiful.
It's brilliant.
Lord,
Lord,
Son
Son of David. It's twice in Matthew 22. It's a marvelous title. Lord Messiah, second Lord of Solomon. These are treasures of understanding for you guys.
And I bet you didn't go to theological school.
No.
No.
In fact, you sent me a video yesterday
Oh,
to look at, where the guy's going on about, he's debating with Shabir Ali.
oh yeah.
And the guy's saying, "Well, they called him Lord." Well, if you call
Yeah.
somebody Lord, he's God, you know that. Oh, yes.
And Yahweh.
And Yahweh, he's called Yahweh, he's Lord, because when you call somebody Lord, it means God. I would have shown them immediately Psalm 110:1. The same week, this last week, we have a guy saying, "Anthony, you're so stupid, come on. Can't you understand John 1 about all that stuff?" And they get really nasty. And then he says, "Well, haven't you read Psalm 110:1? It says Yahweh speaks to Adonai. It doesn't say that." So I wait my moment. I let him pour it all out wrong. I said, "Wait a minute, have you ever looked at that?" You can't read the Hebrew, of course. "Have you ever looked at that second Lord there? What is the word? He said it was Adonai. It's not. What? It's Adonai.
Yeah, it's not.
It's only the difference between God and man. That's all it is.
No big deal.
No big deal.
It's not only that people say, well, he did God things, he's God. Not only that is the fallacy, but also he's called Lord and he's Yahweh. Like, listen to yourself. It's like,
two Yahwehs, what
you're blaspheming, I think.
Right. We're back to the fellow in Nicaragua, the cocky young man who came into the study, he was going to make us all Trinitarians. I said, "Stop." I said, "How many Yahwehs are you proposing?" One. Oh, let's think about that. So you're saying the Father is Yahweh? And you're saying Jesus is Yahweh? Yes. He's a member of the church now. He got baptized eventually. Stop him.
I put that question on my Facebook. I put that video, and with that question,
Good.
so the Father is Yahweh, the Son is Yahweh, how many do you
How many
have?
Yahwehs are there?
And you should have seen the comments. It's like a loony big
It is.
out there.
It
I'm
is.
sorry, but people are just,
It's like stepping on a hole.
nonsense.
It's amazing. I marvel at that.
Hysteria. I mean, I don't know how to
Hysteria
describe
is
it.
the word. All we said is, how many Yahwehs it comes? The Father, Yahweh, Jesus. How many?
Oh.
And they're all churchgoers.
Yeah, I'm sure they're all very zealous. I mean,
See, with that knowledge. Okay, we better pack up and see the time.
Well, let me just make a comment from Randy, because I hope Randy's still listening. Because he thinks he remembers a CD teaching, I guess this is of some previous church, saying that the Jews at that time believed a lot of erroneous things, for example, ghosts. Hence, the CD was viewed that the demons and Satan were just another mistaken belief.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Oh,
That's right.
Very sad, he said.
That doesn't work.
he means
Okay, and
Christabel.
then,
Yes.
Yeah.
regarding the same thing, Acts 12:15 said that they thought Rhoda saw Peter's angel.
Yes.
Mhm.
Well,
That's a guardian angel. That's the guardian angel. Jews believe we all have guardian angels.
That's their definition of comfort.
that's true, that could have been what they thought they saw
Yes.
on walking on water.
Good. It's possible.
And then later on about the faith, and so they were blinded, so they won't see it. Dan says they have chosen to defend and believe a lie.
Yes.
And Jake says, I don't get it either. If you just look at the Anastasian Creed, you will think most Protestants would reject it.
Indeed you would. Is that Jake from what?
Jake V.
Me?
The last, well, Jake V. I don't know, V is in Victor, but I don't know what the V stands for.
There's a Jake B. I know of in Carolina.
I think it's.
I
Okay.
don't know where Jake is, but Jake listens in a lot.
Good. That's wonderful. Thank you to everybody listening out there. I hope it was clear. We have a
Our apologies for the tech issues at
first
first.
at the beginning. Trying to do that.
Thanks for
That's great.
it.
Yeah.
Worked okay once it,
Yeah.
other than the crooked camera.
Right, because it's bypassed quail.
Okay, so we're going to sing, To God Be the Glory,
Yes.
31.
Page 31 in the Church of God hymnal, 31. I'll give you a tune to hum during the week. Keep bringing the nice MacArthur. Oh, don't you go. Bring the MacArthur Bible. Always use it. Very good.
Like to mix it up.
Absolutely. That's wonderful.
God be the glory, great things He has done. So our people that He was His Son, who in His life had atonement for sin, and offered the life is now holy, holy. Praise the Lord, praise the Lord, let the earth hear His voice. Praise the Lord, let the dead rejoice. Oh, come to the Father, through Jesus the Son, and give Him the glory, great things He has done. Oh, perfect redemption, the purchase of blood, to every believer, the promise of God. The heaven's defender, who truly believes, that problem from Jesus, the pardon receives. Praise the Lord, let the earth hear His voice. Praise the Lord, let the dead rejoice. Oh, come to the Father, through Jesus the Son, and give Him the glory, great things He hath done. Great things He hath done, great things He hath done, and great are His mercies through Jesus the Son. The pure and the higher and greater will be our hearts and our transformed when Jesus we see. Praise the Lord, let the earth hear His voice. Praise the Lord, let the dead rejoice. Oh, come to the Father, through Jesus the Son, and give Him the glory, great things He hath done.
Let's ask Judy to close in prayer, if we could, please.
Gracious God and Father, glory be to you. I thank you for the Messiah. Thank you, God, for providing us with salvation. I thank you for the written word that we have, God. I thank you for all the men and women